Good evening and thank you for joining us for KREM 2 News 10 at 10, where we give you more news in less time. Let's get started, and we begin tonight with weather, because to say it's going to be hot for the rest of the week, well, that's an understatement. Let's get outside right now to Chief Meteorologist Jeremy the Good. Jeremy, I'm curious, how hot is it out there at this hour tonight?
You got any guesses? Because I can tell you, but do you have any guesses?
Well, I was trying to look at the bug on the bottom of the screen, but it's too small from where I'm standing. So I don't know, 75?
A little bit warmer.
80?
88.
Oh,
it says 88
goodness.
still. I'm here to tell you it's not quite 88, but this reading comes in at 53 after the hour, and we cool off quick this time of night. So realistically, we're kind of in the low 80s. Here on the South Hill, it's about 85. But yeah, we are still on the warm side of things, and I'm still sweating in a suit coat. 88 in Spokane, 76 in Coeur d'Alene, 68 in Sandpoint, 83 in Ritzville, and 89 in Moses Lake. We're much closer to this Ritzville temperature than not. It's just that when you have so much pavement, that pavement holds on to the heat a lot longer. So look what happens if you get out of the pavement. 68 in Deer Park and Sandpoint. Coeur d'Alene, quite a bit cooler just because of that lack of pavement, or not having as much. The excessive heat warnings remain in place through Saturday for those warm temperatures. Let's just keep in mind it's going to be warm again tomorrow morning. Temps on the rise the next few days, and keep in mind the coldest time of the day, that first hour after the sun comes up, so that's when it's most critical to let some of that cold air into the house.
All right, sounds good, Jeremy. We'll check back in with you later in the broadcast. In the meantime, now to our night beat with a quick look at today's top stories. A day after the city announced its plans to help people beat the heat during this heat wave, several nonprofits are announcing their own plans because they feel the city's plan just doesn't go far enough. And that includes setting up pop-up tents and cooling shelters with free water, food, and sunscreen all around the city.
It's just a sigh of relief, you know, when they can get water or sit for a minute in some shade, and you know that, you know, these people need it, and the city's not doing anything to make sure that they're okay during this heat wave. And so being the one to help to do that it's amazing.
According to the city of Spokane, the city opens cooling centers when temperatures reach over 95 degrees for 2 consecutive days. But volunteers say people need relief now. So Compassionate Addiction Treatment is setting up 4 pop-up tents as part of what organizers are calling Operation Cool Spokane. And coming up in about 10 minutes, we'll share what they are offering and what other resources there are around Spokane to help people stay cool. Well, starting today, 4 Spokane libraries will be open a little later to help people escape the heat. Shadle Park, Liberty Park, Hilliard, and the Central Library are now all open from 9 a.m. until 8 p.m. with cold, air-conditioned spaces to cool down in. In addition to the 4 libraries with increased hours, the city encourages people to use its splash pads and pools to help cool down this week as well. Spokane Mayor Nadine Woodward announced her plan to seek re-election this morning. Woodward said in a press release that she is grateful for the city's trust and support. She also said, quote, "The outcomes that we have achieved in public safety, housing, homelessness, economic development, mental health, and operational sustainability have set a great foundation for the work we still have left to do."
It was a neighbor looking out for their neighbors is what helped in this situation, and that's exactly what we want people to do. If you see if you see smoke, if you see fire, we want you to safely, if you can, alert your neighbors, and in this case, it was able to get them out safely.
Meanwhile, in other news tonight, earlier today, a fast-spreading garage fire prompted a large-scale response from firefighters and forced road closures in the Spokane Valley. A 2-alarm fire was started by a trailer near a garage near 14th Avenue and University Road this afternoon. The fire quickly spread to the garage behind it. A neighbor alerted the family inside the house. They were all able to get out safely. During that fire, University Avenue from 8th to 16th Avenue was closed for several hours, but it has since reopened. And that was your Night Beat. To learn more about any of these stories, just text us the word night to 509-448-2000 and we'll send them directly to your phone. Well, tonight, Spokane Valley City Council postponed its vote on stricter city camping laws. The amendment is one of 2 new sections under the city's nuisance laws. If the changes are approved, camping on private property or living in RVs for more than 30 days will be banned, as well as leaving a large collection of cars out in the open that'll also become illegal. Council discussed the amendments and heard from members of the community, but ultimately motioned to postpone the vote to make edits to the ordinance wording. That next council meeting is set for August 2nd. In other news tonight, as much of the country deals with sweltering heat, the St. Louis area dealing with record rainfall that swept the area last night, causing mass flooding. And we know that one person has died when their car was found in 8 feet of water. Evacuees waded through waist-deep floodwaters with their pets, while others hitched a ride with rescue crews in St. Peters, Missouri. Some areas saw up to 10 inches of rain, and with the rain still coming down, some evacuees arrived at shelters to ride out the storm. In downtown St. Louis, crews cleared drains as they worked to reopen roads to help the city dry out and get moving once again. In other national news tonight, the future path of the Republican Party was on display in Washington today, with former President Donald Trump and former Vice President Mike Pence speaking at different events today. It comes as investigations into the January 6th insurrection continue to move forward. CBS's Natalie Brand is in the nation's capital tonight with the very latest.
Back in Washington for the first time since leaving the White House, former President Trump hinted at a 2024 presidential run.
We may just have to do it again. We have to straighten out our country.
Mr. Trump said the impact of the House Select Committee's January 6th investigation won't stop him.
They really want to damage me so I can no longer go back to work for you. And I don't think that's going to happen.
But the Department of Justice's own investigation into the insurrection and election interference is intensifying.
The most wide-ranging investigation in its history.
In an interview with NBC News, when pressed about possible charges against the former president, Attorney General Merrick Garland did not rule out prosecution.
We will hold accountable anyone who was criminally responsible for attempting to interfere with the legitimate, lawful transfer of power from one administration to the next.
In a new development in the DOJ's probe, Mark Short, former Vice President Mike Pence's top aide, said he testified before a federal grand jury. Pence, who also spoke in Washington at a dueling event Tuesday, said the main difference between the former running mates isn't the issues, but focus.
I truly do believe that elections are about the future.
While Pence did not talk directly about January 6th in his speech, the former VP will release his autobiography later this year with details of how former President Trump severed their relationship on January 6th. Natalie Brandt, CBS News, Washington.
In your Northwest news tonight, later this week, the U.S. Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg will speak at a Western Governors meeting in Coeur d'Alene. Buttigieg will join other members of the president's cabinet to discuss Biden's infrastructure law. He and the governors also will discuss wildfires, cybersecurity, supply chain issues, and the growing housing crisis. Meanwhile, governors from all over the western half of the U.S. are in Coeur d'Alene for that Western Governors Association's annual meeting.
What we do pretty good at in this country is sharing resources. When the fire season in New Mexico and Arizona is going, there's not a lot going on here in Idaho, and then it rolls through.
The three-day event started earlier this afternoon at the Coeur d'Alene Resort. Abortion rights activists demonstrated outside the resort today. Meanwhile, and as you just heard, today's agenda was centered on fighting wildfires. During the event, the governors will also be talking about drought in western states, supply chain, and repairing the West's highways and bridges. Meantime, in Idaho, the Bingham County Sheriff Craig Rowland is stepping down. It comes months after Rowland threatened a church youth group after they knocked on his door to leave a Thanksgiving thank you note. Investigators say he dragged the group's leader out of her car by her hair and threatened to shoot her while holding a gun to her head. Rowland and his new attorney sent out a resignation letter saying his last day is August 1st. Rowland faces felony charges for aggravated battery and assault, as well as a misdemeanor for exhibition of a deadly weapon. Meanwhile, in other Northwest news, a new piece of local art will soon be going up in Riverfront Park. It'll be called the Seeking Place, and it's meant to engage visitors in a collaborative experience with art and nature. Sarah Thompson Moore is the artist. She's based out of Coeur d'Alene and plans on including an ADA-friendly pathway up to the sculpture. The installation is planned to take place sometime between August and October. It is funded by the Riverfront Park Redevelopment Bond. And that was your KREM 2 News 10 at 10, where you get more news in less time. But don't go to bed just yet. After the break, we are sharing how some nonprofits are helping people keep cool during this week's heat wave. We are back in just 90 seconds.